All right, thank y'all all for coming today. We're going to be doing our post-incident analysis on the 2174 fire that happened the other night. So everybody listen up. All right, dispatch time was 12 a.m., right at midnight. En route was 12:02. Arrived on scene 6 minutes later was 12:08. Initial size up was a two-car metal garage detached from the house that had flames showing from underneath the second roll-up door on the right-hand side. Detailed, the description of the event was, of course, was just a two-car fire, two-car garage fire, metal building, 20 by 20, was approximately 14 feet high. Burned up inside was one Dodge 1500 pickup truck, one golf cart, and one four-wheeler. The guys that were on scene, of course, was Engine 1 responded. The police department showed up, sheriff's office, to run traffic along 2174 Street. Secondly to come were two volunteers that were in Brush 1. There was one life safety issue, and that was firefighter Vance. He tried to make initial contact with me inside the house, initial attack. He had been sick throughout during the day. So he ended up vomiting in his mask. He wasn't able to make interior, so he went and stood at the truck, continued puking. We had a medic come with Evan Soward. Evan then became a firefighter with me to go in interior and begin fire attack. We went in, of course, with fire attack. We got pushed back from the extreme heat back out the side door that we had originally made entry into. I was in command on Engine 1 that day, so I had us pull out. We took a K-12, we cut a hole in the roll-up door. We then set a fan for horizontal ventilation out the side door to be able to suck all those toxins that were blowing out from inside the building. They even had a stack of, I think, 4 to 6 tires that were all on fire and multiple gas cans. Luckily, any of the gas cans had exploded before we got there. It was unknown how long the fire had been going. When talking to the homeowner, he had said he had plugged in his truck with the engine block heater that night before he went to bed about 9 o'clock. So somewhere in between 9 and midnight when we got toned out is when this fire had been going. When we made initial, like I said, initial size up of the inside of the building, everything was on fire. The whole building on the inside was on fire. Everything that was combustible was completely on fire. So it could have been going for, 2 to 3 hours by the time we got there. One of the areas that we saw that was a major life safety concern was after we got the fire knocked down, we were able to then kind of start looking around for some overhaul, and I had the tick and noticed that he had a 100-gallon diesel portable gas tank on the back of that truck. It was a flatbed truck. The diesel fuel inside was white hot on the tick, and the container had bulged out. So we had to get that put down very quickly, put water on it to get it cooled down so that we wouldn't risk an explosion of 100 gallons of diesel fuel going everywhere. Other than that, there weren't any other really life safeties or near misses. One that was possible was the neighbor who come to help us. He had been a former volunteer at the department. He will help pull a hose. He helped, get tools out for us. He helped change out bottles. The only problem was, of course, is that when we opened up the side door to this fully involved structure that was full of all kinds of, tires and combustibles and gases and things, he set the fan to go for horizontal ventilation, but he didn't leave that area. And so he had all kinds of toxins blowing right at him. He had no gear on, so I made him get away from the structure and then help out just back at the engine to do bottles and things. While we appreciated his help, of course, since we were only a four-man crew that night, with one guy down, we became a three-man crew. It was very dangerous for him for everything that he was inhaling inside. The operational, I think, went well. I think we had the initial knockdown within, I think I want to say about 10 minutes. And then we, of course, cut down the hole. And then the homeowner took a kind of like a skid loader, ripped down both garage doors, which allowed us a lot of easy access to everything in there. And I think we were done by 2 o'clock with everything. So 2 hours from initial call out to putting out the fire and overhauling. It was done very quickly with very little resources with the guys that we had. The only one thing I would say is that we put out a call to all the volunteers. I think we have like 20 volunteers on our station right now, and only 2 showed up. Yes, it was 25 degrees, and I think, yes, it was Christmas Eve, but still, that's just one of those things. If you're a volunteer at the station and you got family at home for Christmas break, you just got to leave. I mean, the fire department is what you signed up for, to be a volunteer, and you'll be given a pager, so whenever the tones go by, you got to come. I think that'd be the only critique I have of the incident, is that we didn't have a lot of help coming. We didn't need a tanker. I think we only used like 500 gallons of water. So as far as that goes, it was a pretty quick knockdown and knockout. I think we used maybe a little bit more than that on the mop-up, but there was no loss to life. There was no injury to personnel, no loss of equipment. So all in all, it was a very good incident. Everybody worked hard. EMT Vance ended up getting 2 IVs later that morning, getting 2 liters of fluid. He went home. I think he took off the next shift just because he had the flu. It was a really bad case of flu is what he had. And he was able to get back to work the shift after that. All the gear was cleaned, put back in service the next shift, and everybody did a really good job. So that's it for that, the fire on 2174 critique. Y'all have a good day.